Hello, I'm John, the executive producer here at Final Show Films. I got a few notes for you before the show. First, I want to thank you all for watching. We couldn't do what we do or the amount of things that we do without the support of you, the viewer. If you want to support us financially, which we always appreciate, you can go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms, where you can donate as little as $1 a month to help us continue this and all the things that we do. I want to give a special shout out to our $25 supporters, Antitonic, Waterflame, and Samantha Bates. Second, I want to let you all know that we here at Final Show Films are planning a little get-together up at Gen Con this year. That's August 2nd through 5th up at Indianapolis. We're going to be up there just sort of hanging out, enjoying the con, spending time together, and if any of you guys want to come up and say hi, please feel free. We don't bite unless you want us to. And if you enjoy whatever it is you're about to watch or listen to, be sure to check out our website at finalshowfilms.com, where you can find links to all of our other content, both podcast and video. And be sure to follow me at John A. Bates on Twitter for more updates on all of the content we're creating in the future. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy. We're live.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Werewolf the Apocalypse West Rising, Episode 9. I'm your storyteller, Michelle, and let me introduce the players, which by now you probably already know. Let's do this anyway. We'll start with John tonight.
I'm John, and I'm playing Shadow, the Fenris Arun.
And Craig.
I'm Craig. I'm playing Grudek, the Bonar Galliard.
And Aaron.
Hi, I'm Erin. I'm playing Thistle, the Children of Gaia Theurge.
And Jack.
Hey everybody, I'm Jack. I'm playing Tag, the Fianna Ragabash.
And William.
Hi, I'm William, and I'm playing C, the Fenris Arun. Or Fenris Arun, I said John's character.
It's been a...
You are not me.
Play, guys.
the Octanophilodox, sorry.
Or not
All right.
me.
Previously on West Rising, when we last left our heroes, it was around 3 in the afternoon on Saturday, September 29th, and they had split into 3 groups. Thistle was back at the cairn, keeping an eye on the Sept members there. C had gone to his mother to get a translation of a threatening letter written in the language of the Tarsan, a reclusive inbred cult of Guru and kinfolk, to which C's mother had once belonged. He discovered that Sharon Morningcloud's son was being held hostage by an unnamed group in exchange for information on some of the Sept's most secret rituals. Meanwhile, Shadow, Grudek, and Tig drove to the Hollister Hills RV park, where the Black Spiral Dancers' rusty yellow van had been spotted, and where deeper in the woods the Tarsan were known to have their secret cult compound. Shadow and company did not find the van there, but in sniffing around the edges of the fenced private property belonging to the Tarsan, they caught the unmistakable scent of death and many, many corpses. So that's where we left last time. And right now we're going to actually leave the corpses for a second, and we're going to hop back to the cairn, where C is arriving after his slightly upsetting visit with his mother and with his alarming news. And Thistle has been holding down the fort and keeping an eye on the major players at the Sept, and Z's been making sure that nothing weird or shady goes on, and that no one picks on the young Black Spiral kinfolk child.
Mm-hmm. I feel like at one point, I don't know if I still am, I was watching kids for watching the kids.
That's right. You were playing ball with Siobhan for a while, the
right. Yes.
older child. But then you got her settled in with some comics, and she's now totally absorbed in that and needing no further supervision. So you're free to sort of more wander around a little bit if you like, and C should be returning shortly.
All right.
We'll shift our focus there for a bit.
As soon as C gets back to the cairn, he's just like deadline straight for March Lion.
Okay. March Lion has finished whatever his little session was with Morning Cloud. She has begun to wander back toward her tent. And so March Lion is currently unoccupied and hanging about in lupus form as he does in the redwood
So-
circle.
If I see heading that way, I'll just. Do you need me with you? Is this something you want to do alone?
No, this is private. In fact, I'm gonna go quiet for a minute.
Okay.
So see heading toward the redwood circle, Morning Cloud heading toward the eating area. She hasn't eaten in a while, so she's probably a little peckish. And if you want to know where any of the other key players are, just let me know. Otherwise, do your thing.
Just because Thistle does keep an eye on him, is Tim still here or did he go out?
He's been at the cairn this whole time. You've seen him a couple of times, sort of having conversation with Tea Tree. Looks like, serious cairn business stuff, but they're doing it right out in the open,
Yeah.
so nothing shady appears to be going on there. But they're around, both of them.
Okay.
Tree occasionally disappears into her cabin, but then comes back out.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and Tim's just wandering the grounds, talking to various people.
Has C already switched off his totem shell tooth? Okay.
Yeah.
Shelltooth.
So you see, he kind of steps into the redwood circle. March Lion.
And he lifts his little wolfy head and looks like he isn't sure yet whether it's worth shifting into Hamid form. He's going to wait and see what C wants. So he's just looking at him.
I need to speak with you urgently and privately.
He kind of looks down for a moment and then slowly shifts into his wiry old Hamid form. And he sort of lets out not exactly a sigh, but not a kind of like, I don't want to talk to you sigh, but just like he looks genuinely just very, very tired. But he nods and says, can we talk here, or would you like to go somewhere else?
Somewhere as private as possible.
Okay. Come with me. No one ever follows me over here. So he starts wandering off into the woods. About 5 or 10 minute walk.
While that's happening, Thistle's just gonna. Z is very intentionally not trying to pry or look too closely at whatever C's doing because C expressed a desire for privacy, but just keeping an eye on anyone that might be following, trying to listen in on them.
Okay.
If I can.
Potentially because of March Lion's status, while a couple of people seem to notice him walking off with C, everyone seems inclined to just let him do it. You get the idea. People are used to March Lion.
Obviously. Is
everything. We're
if
just gonna
anyone
let him.
seems to be like, let me follow, let me do espionage on this thing, Thistle just wanted to keep an eye on that. But cool.
So he leads you off about 10 minutes walk into the forest, and no one's following, so you're definitely out of normal conversational earshot, and not visible by the rest of the sept either. And there's a bit of a tree that has fallen over quite some time ago, and makes a nice little log for like sitting on height. And there's enough room for both of you to sit without like cuddling. So he just sits on one end of it, almost falls onto it, looking very tired and sore and old. And he gestures to the other end of the log and is like, with sort of have a seat.
He sort of sits down and looks at Marsh Lion. Before I say this, I need the understanding. I have respected your secrecy and your privacy. I need you to understand that this conversation must be known to no one.
You have my word.
Were you aware that Morning Cloud has a child?
He nods, really. But he looks sort of cautious, like a man who isn't sure how much he should say about the subject until he knows what you know. So he just sort of nods.
Good, so I don't have to explain the situation of the child. But someone within this cairn is compromised. Someone is using Morning Cloud. Someone has taken her child and is using her to learn the secrets of the Uktana, working with black spirals.
Well, shit, he says calmly.
For a second, was not 100% certain that wasn't the GM responding to this.
No, that was March Lion. First time C's ever heard him use that kind of language. I should have known. I should have known something was wrong. I tried to find out why she changed her mind this morning. But she's very good at not giving answers when she doesn't want to. And I can't believe that it must be my old age that I didn't put it together with something about her son. I knew about the boy, but I haven't heard anything about him in so long. I thought, well, never mind what I thought. So this is what's happening. Someone's threatened her child.
She's being coerced. The World Bearers, this pack, has been investigating privately the possibility of someone within the cairn being in collusion with black spirals. But we found the connection now, at the very least, to Morning Cloud.
This is why we never want to share with outsiders, because this kind of thing always happens. Do you have any idea how frustrating this is? You probably don't. Oh, God. You're new to all this, but this is just over and over we see this, and it's maddening. All right, so we have to figure out which one of them it is. Do you have any idea?
The only one that we have a certainty it is not is Silverglare, who brought it to our attention.
You don't think that's suspicious in and of itself?
Silverglare has done an incredible amount to assist us in this, and I feel if Silverglare was indeed working with them, it would have been wiser to give us misleading evidence. We would never have found out anything nearly remotely close to Morning Cloud.
All right.
That's not to say that I can't be wrong, but
I never wanted to be in this position again. I'm so tired of doing this over and over. And I thought this burden was finally being taken from me, but no, now I can't tell her anything either, because she's been compromised. Sharon. I wouldn't have. The irony is that all of this time, when I was asking her, begging her to let me train her, she said, "No, I think I'm too weak. Look what happened with the bone gnawer. I'm clearly not pure. I shouldn't take on this responsibility." And then when she finally does agree that she's strong enough to take it on, it's because she is in fact compromised. Son, I'm so glad that you're here, because we're falling apart on this side. We can't sustain this however this shakes out, we're going to lose some of us, and we're going to need you to take over some position here. The first thing I thought when you showed up was, here's someone who could potentially be a Rite Master someday once you've been through all the... But I don't know who's going to... If Morning Cloud can't take over, who's it going to be? Brushfire?
Brushfire's already in a position that she's taking to well, but struggling with.
I know, and... All right, what do we do? What do we do?
Morning Cloud obviously can't learn anything significant.
Right.
Nothing relating to whatever goes on with the Circle of Redwoods.
Right. Thank Gaia. I've only told her the basic, the basic introduction to the general responsibility. I haven't gone over any of the rituals with her yet. They're all right. All right. So how do we find out who has?
The rest of my pack is currently investigating the Talson's home. Because that was the last place that the vehicle the Black Spirals use was seen.
They've turned. They've turned then.
Or they've been attacked.
But if it's our Karen that they're after, why would they attack them? They must be trying.
Where was Morning Cloud's child?
Yeah. All right. I'm just. All right. Obviously, you didn't just tell me this. I know nothing. But I need you to figure this out, son. There's no one else that we can tell because we don't know. We don't know who's involved.
No.
I'm really sure that we can trust our own here. But we're the minority in the Sept as it is, and it could be any one of the others.
The only thing that we know is that someone is trying to learn the secrets of the Uktena. Has anyone been vocal about the Uktena's secrecy who has recently quieted?
Bridge Runner. Since the lot of you arrived, he's stopped throwing his bi-weekly tantrums about the situation.
Somehow I have doubts about Bridge Runner, but that's definitely a place to look.
All right. Just do what you can. Report back to me when you can. And I'll talk to the other elders and see if I can sniff out anything without letting on that I know something's wrong.
And our Galliard has quite a hand at stories and quite a knowledge of ancient Guru history.
Really? He looks very surprised by that.
He seems to have pieced together the likely goal that the Black Spirals want. What is buried beneath those redwoods? He seems to be certain it's a bane.
I am a Bane Tender, that is correct.
Mm-hmm.
I was given the responsibility to keep this area safe. And I need to pass that responsibility on to someone.
Well, those are what the Black Spirals want. They want to know the rituals to keep the Bane sealed so they can undo them.
Of course they do. All right. Thank you for coming to me with this. And thank you for trusting me with this, because I understand in your position what a leap of faith that is, being new here, not knowing me, and trusting me with this, because it could have been me, for all you know.
No,
So
you're the
thank-
one person that I think it couldn't have been.
Thank you, son. I appreciate your insight, and I'm very glad that you're here. Keep an eye on your pack members because their loyalties may not be where they ought to be. And just tell me anything you find out, all right? I cannot understate how crucial you are to this investigation. All right? And be careful in deciding what you do and don't tell your pack mates. Because there may be someone else in the sept who is trying to poison them against the Octena in general, and they may not trust you.
Honestly, Marsh Lion, the only thing that I don't trust is what I'm going to do when I find them.
Just be careful. Don't risk yourself. As I've said, you're crucial to more than just helping that boy. All right. All right. We should head back before they get suspicious, but keep me in the loop. And son, if we get through this without major loss of life and limb, I will owe you. The master of the right of this sept will owe you a great debt.
Well, let's worry about debts after we're all alive, shall we?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And with that, he shifts back into breed form and just lopes off back toward the redwood. There's a quality to his gait as though he's running back, slightly nervous that he's even left it for that long alone. So he lopes back to the redwood circle and goes back to his old man wolf nap.
C goes to find Thistle and broadcasts over the communications. We need more information.
And you guys will be getting that shortly when we cut back to you. But for now, I want to mention that as C is rejoining the area where Thistle is, they may or may not both notice that Estrella has come and sat down next to Morning Cloud and appears to be gossiping with her about something. And Morning Cloud looks startled and then gets up and goes into her tent.
To find the note Tig left.
Indeed.
Are you muted, Aaron? Or it's like vampire all over again. I
It
can't.
might be a hardware mute.
Oh, is it a hard?
Sorry,
there you go.
I muted through Skype and I couldn't find the button because I'm really good at this. So I had two quick questions. One, did Tig tell us that he left a note or just that he went to look again?
Tig was only in there the one time.
Yeah,
And
but he
left-
went
but
to
he
look
left a
after
note.
Shadow looked and took a picture.
Yeah,
I don't
Shadow
remember.
went- Shadow went. Estrella saw him leaving. Tig went, left a note. Estrella saw him leaving.
Because
Yeah.
Estrella's a
I
nosy
was just
little girl.
wondering if Tig told us that he left a note.
I don't think Tig
Okay.
gave any details on that. No.
Okay.
But like most of the rest of us, Tig is only a brainwave away.
Yeah. No, and yeah, the second question was irrelevant. You confirmed that Estrella was the one who
Yes.
saw.
So in a moment, Morning Cloud emerges holding Tig's note in her hand and sort of looking around.
Tig, Shadow, quick question. You guys, left things relatively untampered with, right? Or no?
We might not be able to respond.
Yeah.
Cut
I don't know. Yeah.
Cut to the RV park, deep in the woods, past the part where people are, parking their RVs, and next to the gap in the fence that C directed them to mentally. They are standing there. Grudek has just heard, he thinks, the hunting call of the black spirals, the call of the whippoorwill reverberating through the trees. And Shadow has most definitely smelled a very large number of corpses on the other side of the fence. So there you are.
So Shadow's hackles are raised.
Mhm.
And I believe we all can understand body language of the wolf, even when we aren't necessarily in Hamid form.
That's correct.
So, or well, not necessarily lupus form, I should say. Shadow's body language is he is assuming command. And with whatever small barks, growls, and physical motions that he can use, will basically indicate that Grudek needs to follow behind him, and Tig needs to follow behind at a distance, keeping an eye out for anyone approaching from behind or the sides. And
that would be Grudek's cue.
And then
I mean, unless that's happening significantly before I got that botch on the perception check.
I think it's probably happening like simultaneously.
Yeah, it's about the same time.
The Grudek, who had shifted into lupus, I went back and double checked just to make sure, who had shifted into lupus, throws back his albinoid white head and howls sharply, and then follows up with 3 quick howls, which is the howl of
the warning of the worm's approach.
Exactly. So, and I'm going to try, if I can, to I think it's manipulation plus performance to roll to indicate to the others both what it is I think I smell and or what it is I think I heard and in what direction it was.
Yep, do it. Manipulation performance. 3 successes, so you're able to give the basic info.
The marching orders then change slightly to give Tig a focus of keep an eye in that direction.
Yep. So Grudek has basically just howled at you in a way that indicates there are black spirals hunting us.
Yep. So basically, we're running in towards the cairn. I want Grudek between me and Tig keep an eye out in the background, a bit of a distance away, so that if anything's coming up behind, he'll notice it.
As Grudek has said to you before, anytime we get into trouble, his place is right beside you. Not quite beside, more to the back.
There you go. Exactly.
He's directly behind you, and we'll run in immediately after.
Okay.
And so Tig is going to start making his shift into lupus then.
Okay. Roll for
and yep. And I'm currently in Hamid form, so it's difficulty 6. 2 successes, which puts me to Krynos.
Okay, so a giant red.
You could spend a rage to go the whole way.
Or I could take my time.
It's true.
And get another 2 successes to get me to lupus.
You can do that too.
All right, so we've got black, red, and white wolves loping through the gap in the fence toward the center of the compound. And now that you're all in lupus form, you can all clearly smell a large quantity of stale, dried, cold blood and a ton of corpses.
And again,
and what?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna as we're going on, I basically giving Tig, give me a report of anything you see as we're going in.
So while you're going deeper into the compound, that is when you get the message from C.
Hey guys, there's a social thing.
So C, first remind them what your mind message was, and then Thistle.
It was just the very exasperated. We need more information.
Okay, and then Thistle's was what again?
Hey, so when you went and looked in Morning Cloud room, you guys left stuff alone, right?
The response from Shadow is, cannot talk.
Can't talk black spirals.
Did Grudek send that?
Oh yeah.
Crap.
Cannot talk. Grudek then responds, can't talk, black spirals.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Hey, when I botch, I
No, that's
roll
fair.
with it.
That's great. That's great.
You lean into that hard.
Do I get anything from Tig in that moment or no?
Well, since those two started out leading off, Michelle, how are we ruling it? How easy is it to carry on any sort of sending or running commentary while you're actively busy trying to do something else?
It's a thing you could do. Basically, think of it as, could you pray while doing this? If you could pray while doing this, you could send a mental link. So it is possible to be walking and praying at the same time. Oh, please, God, don't die,
Right.
But you probably couldn't be doing anything like, typing an email or having another conversation simultaneously. So it's
Right.
similar level of focus to praying.
Okay.
So you could probably be, like can't talk black spirals would be perfectly sendable as you're running into the thing.
I'll give you a bit of details after we figure this out. First, we have to make sure we're not gonna get our throats wrapped.
None of you are catching any scent of black spirals, by the way. So
No,
just
still keeping an eye out, though.
And Tig is definitely letting them go in, and he is going full stealth scout to sort of try and make a wide perimeter.
Yeah.
As much as he can, and figure out if we're getting ambushed, where's it coming from?
If I can sense worm again, now that we're inside, I would like to. If your determination is that I'm too freaked out to do that, that's totally fine.
Give it a try, but up the difficulty by 1.
Okay.
So in this case, it would be difficulty 8, I think.
Okay. Yeah, it's essentially 6 if it's there, 7 if you're trying to set something that was there. So I guess 8.
Yeah.
And 2 successes.
Okay, so you don't sense anything
Okay.
at present, except, blood and guts and cold, stale blood and guts.
Okay. Grudek will convey that. For convenience's sake, I will continue to speak in Grudek's voice with an accent, although obviously in Lupus, that's not how he sounds.
Body language and
But through body language, Grudek will convey no threat here, lots of death.
Let's continue.
So as you get farther in, away from the fence, you start to see things that remind you actually a little bit of the cairn grounds in Muir Woods. There's like a little area where people obviously cook food and some sort of seating around it that's mostly looks to be made from bits of chopped up trees. And then you also start to see some living areas that are constructed from a mixture of natural materials like tree limbs and branches, leaves, but also just discarded trash used in very creative ways to make good solid shelters. And just about the time that you're noticing the oddly constructed shelters, you start to notice the bodies.
I would like to try to tell, and maybe this isn't the time, but just based on what I'm seeing, and perhaps once we start looking at the bodies, I'd like to try to tell if Grudek would know if the Taliesin would be associated with any particular camp within the Octena.
The Tarsen, no, he has not heard of them.
Tarsen, sorry.
Yep, he's never. He's only heard that word in reference to this particular.
Oh, I mean,
Little-
no, I mean, I understand that this particular group, and maybe I've misunderstood, but my understanding was that this particular group is called the Tarsen. But are they? Is there anything that would indicate that they are perhaps also Bane tenders or one of the other groups, like the Scouts, or?
Have no other context for him at all.
Okay.
He would never heard it in connection with any other guru concept at all. Like
Okay.
the first and only time he ever would have heard it was when you guys had that discussion about them, and it's not a word that he heard otherwise.
And what are Tig's difficulties for stealth and scouting?
At this point, difficulty 6.
Okay.
And your perception difficulty is reduced by 2 because you're in lupus form.
To be totally clear, I'm not trying to drive this into the ground of probably the same answer. I'm not asking about the name. I'm just talking about him looking around here.
Oh, okay. Visually, what he sees.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like anything that he's familiar with at all.
Okay.
It's obviously its own strange subculture that doesn't ring any bells.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around to see what any and everything that I can learn from this scene.
Basically, the only visual input right now, you're mostly looking at a bunch of bodies. There's you can see, since you're within visual range of the living quarters, you can now see about 10 human or pomid bodies strewn around. One of the bodies, the one that's lying kind of most out in the open, farthest from the living structures, has signs on it that look as though it was actively involved in a struggle. There are not only slashes on the face and the chest and everything, but the hands are bloody, as though it was this person. You can't even tell gender from the remains of it, but this person was clearly fighting. But many of the other people that are lying around, they're face down, mangled from behind, like they were just run down and savaged as they were trying to get away.
I am going to shift into Krynos, or try to.
Okay.
Stamina Primal Urge, right? Yeah. 6. I succeed. And in Krynos form.
Stealthily, or are you bothering with that?
No, I'm not.
I was trying. Okay, so you're not trying to.
I'm
move
not
stealth.
at all.
Okay.
In Krynos form, looking over at Grudak and just sort of barking out, "Search for survivors." And I'm gonna go through I'm just gonna go shifting through the remains of the camp, seeing if there's anybody left alive.
Okay.
Grudek will bark in consent and will I think stay in lupus and will start sniffing around to see if he can smell or hear anything that's not an old corpse. Can I get any indication of how long these corpses have been dead?
In what way are you investigating? Are you just by smell? Are you touching them? What are you doing?
I guess he will start by smell, and if that's will probably actually touch his nose to one of the bodies to get an idea of temperature.
Okay. The smell is definitely of death, but not yet. They're not like putrid, like rotting smell to them, just dead. And they are definitely cold.
Okay. I guess I'll shift back to, since Shadow's already in Krynos, I'll shift to Krynos, just to be able to manipulate the bodies enough to see if they're rigid, because that would give us a sense of whether rigor mortis is set in or perhaps already passed. But if
And-
if they're not smelling putrid,
And you can tell that Grudek is in Krynos form, or sorry, Shadow's in Krynos form, because if there are black howlers around, he needs to be ready if they charge.
Right.
Okay, all of you roll perception alertness. It looks like Tyg already did that, right? 3 successes.
Yes,
so
that's what he was using
Yeah.
for his,
the other
scouting.
the other 2 of you do perception alertness. See,
6 successes.
2, 1 success. It is if keen smell applies, then 2 successes.
okay, Grudek. As you're testing a body, which is very stiff, definitely rigor mortis has set in at this point and is still a thing. So that gives you a vague window.
Right.
You hear something. It sounds like a faint whispering or murmuring coming from inside one of the cunningly constructed shelters.
Okay. I will switch to Hamid form. Let me see if I can do that, but I will attempt to switch to Hamid form.
Okay.
Difficulty 6, Krynos to Hamid. Is that right?
Yes.
It's only higher from the mid forms.
Okay.
Or
3.
into the middle forms.
3 successes. So he switches to Hamid, and then we'll go up and get closer and try to be quiet as he approaches and see what he can hear.
And he just hears indistinct murmuring, and he can't hear exactly what's being said, but whatever it is, it's being said over and over again.
Just one voice?
Yeah.
Okay. Is the door, what does the entrance to the shelter look like?
There's like a flap that's been made out of some kind of synthetic material that you can't clearly identify. It's obviously been cut from something else, but it's like a flap over a doorway that can be pulled aside, and the rest of the frame is very rigid.
Okay.
Combination of wood and branches and just other filler materials that they've scavenged. Really well constructed. And then a flap covering the doorway.
Okay.
Of
With
something
visions of a shotgun blast shooting out of it if he's standing directly in front of it, Riddick will go up and stand slightly off to the side of the entrance, and we'll say very, very quietly, Don't be alarmed. We are here from the set of the Western Eye. We want to help, but we have to leave. The Black Sparrows are coming.
The only response is that the murmuring gets louder and takes on a faintly, somewhere between frantic and defiant tone, but he can also hear a slight gurgling in it that doesn't sound healthy.
Okay.
And he can hear, it sounds like maybe a woman's voice, an older woman. And she just says over and over again, Umathanu na chedi, Umathanu na chedi, Umathanu na chedi, Umathanu na chedi.
I assume I don't know what that means.
Yep.
Okay. The critic says, okay, this is stupid decision, but I'm going to come inside. I'm in Hamid form. I am Garou. And he will slowly, wincingly start to open the flap.
Okay. There's an old woman in there. She's One of her arms is it just sort of tapers off into like a withered stump, but it looks like that doesn't look like an injury. It just looks like that's what her arm is. The other one has been ripped off at the shoulder, and most of her legs are missing also. She's pale and sweaty and looks like she is not long for this world. You can see where she has attempted to put like a tourniquet on each of her legs where they've been ripped off. It's probably the only reason that she is still alive. But she wasn't able to do the same to her other arm, I guess, because she didn't have a thumb on the other. Anyway, so yeah, she's not looking good at all, and she just looks at you with this fierce, like, go ahead and kill me sort of look on her face, and just says again and again, Umatanu nachedi, Umatanu tarsen, Umatanu nachedi, Umatanu tarsen.
Look around and see if there's a blanket or anything that he could use to wrap around her or anything like that inside the tent.
There is
the shelter.
In the shelter over in the corner, there's a folded up blanket. It's quite beautifully made, actually, but splattered with blood.
Okay. He's going to grab it and slowly approach her and try to wrap her in it, and then sort of hold her and see if he can in any way put some pressure on the bleeding or give her some form of comfort.
And she just sort of flails and just says, Umate, umate, umate.
Any chance with Tag's 3 successes, is he picking up anything on his scout run on the perimeter that anybody's coming in? Or
Nope, he keeps finding more and more corpses. There's probably there were probably close to 50 people living here, and they're all dead. And again, he finds maybe half a dozen that look like they were fighting, and the rest look like they were just run down. And a lot of them seem to have like withered limbs or other signs of kind of weakness or infirmity. It's like a wolf got into the sheep pen, basically. It's just
And is that what I'm finding
absolute
as well?
slaughter. Yeah. A few people obviously did put up fights. And there is actually, you find one corpse that is in Krynos form, suggesting that it was a Metis, a very old, elderly Metis Guru. But the rest look like they must have been either Hamid Guru or humans, because they're human in their death. But there was one in Krynos form who obviously was also fighting, up to his elbows, blood, but did not win that fight.
I have 1 point in medicine. I don't know if there's any way I can try to ease her pain. I also figured maybe I could just try to soothe her by wrapping her in the blanket. I know she's fighting back, but I want to try to calm her down.
Okay, I would use actually kind of charisma and medicine.
Okay.
You can tell by a look at her that there's not anything you can do to help her, but you may be able to soothe her if you can project your goodwill.
4 successes.
Okay. So she does actually finally stop fighting you. And she just says a few broken things to you in whatever language it is she's speaking. And just sort of stares into your eyes, looking confused and lost.
Grudek will say, I'm sorry. Do you speak English or Polish? Probably English.
She just stares at him blankly.
Then, over the mental link, he will send to see. And I'm sorry, Michelle. I don't, as a player, remember the exact words that she said, but I would assume Grudek can, because she was just saying them a second ago.
Yeah. Umatamu nachedi.
See, do you know the language of the Tersan? Umachanu natsedi.
Does that sound like? And I haven't learned enough of the language, honestly,
Nope.
to recognize any of that.
Yeah, you wouldn't recognize it.
Other
No.
So universe related question, because I assume Grudik would know this. Don't all werewolves have a common tongue if they manage to get to Krynos form that kinfolk are taught?
There is the Guru tongue. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Obviously,
that's something that would have.
But
however,
thank you. That's something that probably would have occurred to Grudik before it occurred to Craig. So thank you.
But keep in mind, though, that it was invented by the Fianna, so it is likely that a tribe that isolated themselves completely from European influence may not even know that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so that's probably what went through Grudek's mind and why he hasn't attempted it. But I mean, he's welcome to attempt it.
I appreciate the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to try it anyway.
Sorry, that was just Aaron going, I don't know.
No, that was very smart.
Aaron, I appreciate that because I think that's something that in character 100% would have occurred to him, but I just didn't think about it as a player.
Yeah.
So I will try the same thing. Do you speak Garu?
And she just continues to look at him blankly and continues repeating the same thing sort of more weakly now.
Over the mental link, because I'm assuming that we all heard it. C, can you write that down?
Yeah, I probably recognize enough to know how it would probably be spelled phonetically.
Yeah, she's saying it over and over again enough that Craig should be able to repeat it fairly accurately. It sounds like Umatamu Nache Di. Umatamu Nache Di.
I assume we're all typing it into Roll20. Fired up everybody typing at once. I will let you guys do it.
And then sometimes she says Umatamu Tarsan. When you recognize Tarsan, that's the name of her group.
Grudek will try through a combination of charades, hand gestures, and his English to while holding her say, "Do you want to leave, or do you want to rest here?"
She stares at him, and then she just closes her eyes and leans her head over.
Okay. Is that a gesture in response, or is that her actually passing out?
She seems to still be conscious. It looks like she just willingly just closed her eyes and rested her head against whatever the nearest thing is to rest her head against, assuming it's not Grudek, because she does not seem inclined to cuddle with him.
Okay. Then he will put her down and make her as comfortable as possible. I mean, I hear the joking, but the litany does say, do not suffer the weak to live. So, the next thing that Grudek says over the link is, we have an elderly survivor, but she is not long, has not much longer to walk on Gaia. Should I send her on to the next world?
If you
and
can.
This is directed at Shadow, because Shadow is the acting alpha.
If you cannot, I will bear that burden.
It is not a burden to bear. It is a question. I simply don't think she will survive to reach a point where we can bestow healing upon her, and I would not wish her to suffer further. But if either of you have more questions for her, we can try. I do not know how effective it would be.
Be quick and merciful.
There's fuck all out here, so don't think we're going to be seeing too much assistance on the way.
And over both the mental link and out loud, I will howl the dirge for the fallen.
Grudek will join in and will take her life in the most painless way he possibly can. And he does have a knife. I assume that's probably the easiest way.
Yeah, probably just.
Yeah.
And for C's benefit, it's a long dirge.
Yeah. Probably close to 50 people.
I think Grudek will, when joining in, will also weave in elements of defiance intended for the black spirals that he's convinced are still there to hear, and indications that if they come, vengeance will be waiting for them in the camp.
And as if it weren't completely obvious already, Tig, as you are doing your various scouting, I assume you're just staying on the move and just sniffing out every corner of.
Yep.
As you come around the largest main building that they've constructed, it looks like kind of a meeting house of some sort. As you go around the back of it, you see in dried blood a spiral has been painted on the back of the building.
At the camp, there's just a moment of C just clenching his fists very tight, almost potentially threatening to draw blood, and he just turns around and walks toward March Lion.
March Lion is still having a snooze in the... Yes.
So, if we're going back to the camp, you can say we're not yet.
Yeah, we can go back for a sec, yeah.
I wanted to just clarify, did that happen, did all of that happen as we were standing, sort of noticing that Morning Cloud had gone into her tent, or has it been little bit of time?
It was like right at about the same time. At the time when you asked, did you guys mess anything up in there? That was as they were entering. So now it's been a little while. Morning Cloud is she has since come out of the tent with the letter and was sort of looking around, but she didn't spot Tig, so she's just gone back into her tent.
Okay. So having noticed that Thistle was probably in the time between these things going to go over to see. I don't mean to pry, but psychically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to pry, but I do need to know at least what you're willing to tell me.
I don't even know what I can tell you right now. There's so much.
Can I ask questions? It's okay if you tell me the answer. I can't know. Are we in danger if Morning Cloud learns that we saw the letter?
I don't know.
Okay.
And that's probably about the point that you're getting the Umatamunatiji from
All right.
From Grudek.
Grudek. This is all interspersed with your conversation. You're just getting fragments of what they're seeing.
Yeah. Thistle will... If you need me, I'm here. But I suspect this is one of those things that you might want to do privately. And again, I'm not prying. I'm not even going to try and guess. But if this is their move, think about what they want from it.
It's a very good question, and I wish that I knew the answer.
How much impulse control is involved in psychic thought? Is it more intensive than like snapping with words, or is it okay?
Yeah, it's more of a conscious, because you're just a little bit of focus.
See, you get the impression, and given it's Thistle, it's almost, it might even be visualized this way, of that ... that is clearly someone writing a response to a text and then deleting it.
Like Z is about to say something and then decides, maybe not.
Snarky is, I have a specialty in not exactly snark, but essentially that. But also I have a bit of decorum and a fair amount of secrecy.
And empathy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now may not be the time.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not taking advantage of his emotional vulnerability to guilt trip him into telling me things.
A
and
plus.
after the Dirge of the Fallen, however long that lasts, I will see these are your people. How should they be put to rest?
I feel like I should know burial. Not unlike rituals. Like
For the Tarsan, you wouldn't know because that's, they've got their own customs, and your mom hasn't told you much about it.
Do I know at least like some general rites that are used commonly by the various Alone at the very least?
What you know of the Oloni is that they have actually lost a lot of their old cultural traditions. They're trying to resurrect them, but you know that all you know really is that they often buried people. They buried their pets alongside the humans. That their animals had a lot of respect and significance to them, because that's all they know from excavating their own. There was a situation where there was a development that was going through some places where Ohlone remains had been buried, and they actually allowed the Ohlone to excavate their own remains and study them rather than just, let random anthropologists in there. The tribe actually voted to examine their own remains, and they found animals buried with them that were clearly domesticated companions. So you're pretty sure that at least that subsection of the Ohlone people had some sort of burial rather than, say, cremation or whatever. But that's all you know, and it's only about the Muwekma Ohlone that your grandfather belonged to. And
yeah, and
the rest you don't know.
That's not necessarily the Tarsan, as far as I know.
Yeah.
I have a lower question. This one I genuinely don't know. Is there like a werewolves are statistically likely to become zombies or anything that's like common practical advice involved in burials?
Nope.
Okay.
That would be so great if Thistle asked that, though.
Their remains are.
I am more asking because I assume there are characters in this context that would know these things.
Right. No. Their remains don't need to be disposed of in any particular way for supernatural reasons, but there are, for various tribal customs.
For clarity's purposes,
Thistle did ask that at some point.
Probably.
So, how do we get buried? Sorry.
For clarity's purpose, the intention would have been they are Uktena, and would have been asking for Uktena burial rites more than anything else. If that
okay.
Do I know any of those?
Burial customs.
Burial rites, probably not, because you haven't had to deal with that yet. But yeah, March Lion and Hot Eye and all those people would know.
I don't know the rights of the Uktena, but I might be about to find out. He says as he's walking towards March Lion.
We will prepare them. And I begin gathering all of the bodies and sort of lining them up as respectfully as I can in the outfit, and indicating that Tig and Grudek, or that Grudek at the very least should assist while Tig continues keeping an eye on the perimeter.
Yeah, Grudek shifts back into Krynos just for the extra strength, and probably for the first time ever that you all have heard, when involved in some sort of physical activity that didn't involve cooking, doesn't complain, doesn't say anything, just starts doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tig is passing at this point, starting another pass around for the scouting perimeter, and just keeps up a mental running commentary now over the mental link. I've got more bodies back here. They left a calling card on the back of the assembly hall in blood. There's a big Just
Yeah.
profanity.
I will get locations so that Grudek and I can come grab the bodies. And
Spiral icon on the back of the building.
And I will
Bastard.
drag a claw through that icon as I go past.
And I think Grudek will be trying as well to sort of lay them out in any sort of cultural significance that he's aware of for the Uktena.
While we wait for more information. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If not, then just sort of generally appropriate Garou burial rites or burial positions.
Okay.
Thistle is going to find somewhere somewhat isolated, maybe in the amphitheater, to sit down. Tig. Criminology, the thing where you what's that? Who were their priority targets? What was their pattern? We can assume they arrived by van, but MO is important. I think. I've watched crime shows.
I'll give him the full forensic overlay as best I can.
That would be perception and investigation.
Okay.
And I would be, from a tactical perspective, I would also be looking at that information while...
Anyone who wants to try to reassemble the scene in your head would be perception and investigation.
Thistle's actually going to pull out the iPad and just, because I know they're all in a high-stress situation and may not remember this later, everything that is coming across, try and categorize it, catalog it, get accurate moment-to-moment information, because we're fucking with the crime scene to bury these people. So
yeah.
And you said difficulty was 10 on that?
Oh, no. I didn't give a difficulty.
Okay.
Perception investigation, and this would be, I'd say, difficulty 7.
Yeah. And
Dropped by 2 since I'm in lupus.
Yeah. And basically, whoever gets the most successes gets to give the report, but you'll get varying amounts of
2 successes.
3 successes.
Okay. How about you, Grudek? That was your comfort roll. Okay.
Yeah, that's from before.
You doing any kind of investigative crime scene kind of stuff, or is he just...
I think he's actually more focused on doing the burial rites correctly.
Okay. So he's basically working on handling the bodies respectfully and trying to get them assembled into one place. Okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to roll for that or just...
No, that's fine. That's fairly straightforward, and you wouldn't know Uktena rights because even their burial rights they don't share.
That's fair. But so he will be doing sort of
generally respectful treatment.
A non-denominational Garou funeral. Yeah.
And we are. C did say that we might have more information regarding that soon. So we'll.
Yeah. So Tig is the one who ends up sort of reporting on the crime scene, and Tig, you're able to get, or just by looking around from what you saw when you first walked in and the position of the bodies, and you're getting a pretty clear picture of what happened, and you're seeing that a group of black spirals, judging by the calling card they left, a group of black spirals entered same way you did, through the breach in the fence, and basically just killed anyone who stood in their way. And then when they were finished killing the people who stood in their way, they hunted down the people who were hiding and chased them and killed them also. And there seems to be no, from what you're seeing, the motive looks like it was just simply kill everyone here. Find and kill every single person here.
So there wasn't any ritualism to it, apparently. There wasn't any
it looks
and it
chaotic,
wasn't any
savage. Anything that moves, we're gonna hunt. And you almost get an impression of gleeful sport.
Okay. but nothing particularly extreme about it. Like they didn't. It wasn't. There was enjoyment, and it was savage, and it was brutal.
There did not
But
appear to be any signs
but
of
there wasn't
prolonged
torture.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
extended. Right, yeah.
it doesn't look like they set up camp there for a long time torturing people. It looks like it was a chase and a hunt and good fun, and then they left,
Okay.
presumably with the boy.
Right. So yeah, he'll extend that back through the mind link to everybody as tactfully as he can. They killed them all, and well, they didn't exactly take their time. It was a hunt. It was a game, and they definitely had the upper hand.
Okay.
I don't know if C's reached March Line at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He's
so
just
he,
napping there in the Redwood Circle as usual.
He walks into the clearing, and once he knows that Marsh Lion is aware of his presence, he kind of like walks up and performs that very low bow that looks like a very significant show of respect, but is actually with your head down is really good for hiding mouth movements and what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as he's made sure that Marsh Lion knows that he's there and is paying attention, and just the Tarson are dead. They've been butchered by the Black Spirals. They need burial.
March Lion just freezes like for a second. He's in lupus form, so he doesn't have like a wide range of facial expressions or
The ears twitch.
yeah, it's like he actually stops breathing for a second. You can, because he's so wiry, you can see his little rib cage under his fur, and it just stops for a minute. And then he slowly starts to breathe again. And he says, I'll tell Sharon. I guess shifts to Hamid and says that I'll tell Sharon. She'll know what they need.
You know what would be super useful in this context? A magic phone.
So he very heavily and warily gets up and shuffles slowly toward the living area with the tents. And as people in the sept see him, they all stop and just stare. There's obviously something very unusual about him shuffling in Hamid form in that direction, and everyone looks sort of puzzled and concerned, and he's pale and sort of dead-eyed as he heads over there, and he doesn't exactly like give C the impression like you are dismissed, but he doesn't invite him along either. He just sort of goes like he's in a trance, just says, I'll tell Sharon, and then just starts off.
C just kind of stands amid the redwoods and just kind of turns his head to the sky and just closes his eyes and just screams internally.
Internally or externally?
His mouth is staying clamped shut because he knows that he can't let anyone know what he's thinking right now.
Excellent.
John, you're muted.
Brackets screams internally.
Yeah.
I feel like that summarize your character in a GIF thing.
Screams internally.
Yeah.
Face turned to the sky. Yeah, very, very epic. Let's actually take a little break there to attend to our various,
All right.
human needs, and then we'll come back once C has finished screaming internally.
We'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
And we're back.
So as C is standing framed by this circle of magnificent redwoods, with his face turned to the sky in anguish, holding back the scream of agony in his heart, Silverglare walks up and says, "So did you bring my car back then?"
There's like this moment of disconnect as C just kind of stares blankly at her for a second, and then realizes what she's asking, and just doesn't say a word. Just like 1 second, and just pulls the keys out and hands them to her.
"Ah, thank you very much." And oblivious to anything else that may be going on, she just jauntily whistles and walks off to go and get ready for her date tonight.
And she just like has this moment of like mental non-comprehension of what just happened, and
Dissociation is fun.
Right? Oh. In the meantime, Mark Lyon has actually gone into Morning Cloud's tent because apparently she hasn't gotten enough bad news yet today.
mm-hmm.
So that's that. What are you going to do next, friends?
Tyga finally catches up with Thistle. Left her a wee bit of a note thanking her for giving me the time of day last night and letting her know that I'd be happy to pitch in while I'm still finding my feet and figuring out what I'm going to be doing on behalf of the cairn. You know, that's a good reason for walking into a woman's bedroom.
Okay. Okay. She's
That was the
noticed.
best I could come up with on short notice.
So where in the cairn grounds are Thistle and C at this precise moment? Is C still in the Redwood Circle?
Yeah, she is still in the redwoods. She's just kind of taking a minute and processing.
Thistle is sort of probably over by the amphitheater, somewhere that has decent lines of sight to most places people are hanging out, but is a little bit further away because
Yeah, that's a good
I'm
area.
decent at not showing what I'm thinking, but I don't necessarily know how long I could keep up a deception while everyone's showing me blood and gore in my head.
Right. Yeah, so that's a good spot, and it's also got places to sit and everything.
And
So
it has out that notebook to write down stuff. That's,
okay,
yeah.
Excellent. All right, and you who have arranged the bodies and whatnot.
Yeah, we're arranging them currently. I have defaced the black spiral, the spiral mark, and go over to where the sort of bodies are buried, or not buried, where the bodies have been laid out, and until I get further instructions, begin digging individual graves for each of them, assuming with Grudek's help.
And Michelle, you said most of the bodies were either disfigured or disabled in some manner.
A large percentage, more than half of them, have some visible limb deformity.
Okay.
Even though they're clearly not metis werewolves, because in death they're in human form, but
Okay.
it may just be an inbreeding issue.
I was gonna say, does it look natural or does it look supernatural in origin?
It's like birth
Okay.
defect type
Right. Mm-hmm.
situation. So yeah, hunting these guys was probably not particularly challenging sport, except for the few that happened to be Guru.
Right.
And so there was at least one Guru, and it looks like there were about 3 or 4 more that were actively fighting, and you can probably assume that they were Guru as well, because it's hard to imagine a human just going up and starting to punch a black spiral
Right.
dancer.
Mhm.
Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So humans were probably the ones running.
One issue that we're going to have, we can't bury the metis here with the others if we're going to bury everybody. We can't just put a crinoskeleton in the ground.
It's fair.
I don't know if we should. I don't think we're going to be able to
We
get
also won't be
a
able
big
to,
enough bonfire going. But
We also won't be able to take him elsewhere. I'll nod
How
over
much
towards.
room is in the back of Seascar?
Not that much.
Well, as far as fuel and the like go,
I would love to see
There's
you
an-
guys get pulled over for speeding and with the corpse of a Krynos in the back of the van.
Yeah,
It's like that
but, like-
popular movie, Little Miss Moonshine.
I'm still stuck on the idea of the three of you trying to get a rigor mortis Krynos-sized body into a vehicle of any.
So
I will indicate the building that had the black spiral mark on it.
Black Marrow Spark.
We will solve one problem as we cleanse this area of their taint. We can use that building as a pyre for the Krynos.
Agreed. I'll go ahead and start arranging that. Just so I can approach this in a way that's relatively true to character, so we can make these preparations before we start digging holes and making a pyre. Grudek will say to Tig over the totem link, so no more sign of the black spirals?
nah, they've been and gone long since. Plenty of corpses out there, and you can definitely see the trail they carved through this area. But no, they've been out probably at least 3-4 hours before we even got here.
Well, they must have decided not to come back after we heard them. All right, please let us know, but we'll be swift with the burial preparations.
Can I make like a wits and empathy check and see if I can figure out why Grudek is so obsessed with the fact that he heard them?
Yeah,
Well, because
let's-
he thought they were coming.
yeah, let's.
I don't think it's
let's
even a
do-
check. I think he pretty much blatantly said that.
Right, but I guess
Okay.
what Tig is trying to figure out is maybe whether he suspects that Grudek might have been hearing things. Right? Is that
Oh,
what
yeah.
you're trying
Yeah.
to figure out? Or
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
pretty
yeah,
much.
so that would be like wits and empathy. Or no, let's do perception and empathy. Difficulty 8. I'm gonna say.
Mayhaps it was an actual whippoorwill.
Difficulty 8. 3 successes.
Okay, so it's occurring to Tig nobody else has heard any sign of the black spirals having been here, and I mean the bodies are all ice cold and rigor mortis and everything, and there's no. That's the last evidence we have of them having been here at all. You know that Tim said the van was here yesterday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Grudek's talking about the black spirals like they're
10 minutes
around
ago.
somewhere. Yeah.
Right.
So there's a bit of a disconnect there, and something about his manner is
Mhm.
giving you weird vibes. So
So yeah, he'll just next time he passes by, just sort of because he's shifted back to Hamid form by now, just sort of clap Grudek on the shoulders. You've been doing a fair job keeping an eye out for us. Appreciate you having our back here. I know this wasn't exactly your assignment of choice today, but you've handled yourself quite well.
Grudek looks over from whatever body he's carrying and says, I know that I'm perhaps not the best prepared of all of us for confrontation, but we work as a pack, yes?
And if you ask me, we do a damn good job.
Thank you for keeping an eye on everything. I'm glad we have the time to lay these folks to rest.
I wouldn't be doing straight by him to leave him rotting out here under the sun for much longer. I've got 2 or 3 more over on the back end that way, and that should at least clear it up for this section.
All right. I'll go there next. Thanks, Tig.
Anytime, lad.
Dziękuję.
So, meanwhile, back at the Sept, there starts to be the sound, I guess, Neither of you are close enough to hear it, though, so never mind.
There's a sound that none of you hear.
There's a sound. A tree falls in the
tree
forest.
falls forward.
Sorry, that
Great
was
mind.
my fault.
Okay, so
Shadow casually pushes over a tree.
so at some point, he is just hanging out in the redwood circle, and Thistle's hanging out in the amphitheater.
Yeah,
Right?
Thistle's hanging out in the amphitheater, but especially now that things have calmed down a little bit over there, keeping an eye out for essentially spreading any disturbances. Because, like, I can make the general assumption, whether or not it's accurate, or Thistle feels like there's a general assumption to be made that C has probably told Marsh Lion something of what has happened. And that is what's being dealt with now. So Z is keeping an eye over there.
Okay. Z will probably notice just in the distance, because he's just in the sight line where Z can still see kind of the little stream that runs up through the center of the grounds toward the redwoods. Probably can't see all the way to the tents, but Z does see when Morning Cloud is suddenly walking at a very rapid pace up along the stream toward C, looking somewhat wild-eyed and distraught, and approaches C.
All right, there's a very quick to see, I'm here if you need me. Again, not going to pry, and sort of intentionally doesn't focus on that part of the link unless called upon.
Okay. Morning Cloud just walks up to C and just stands there, and for a minute she just sort of looks at him like a deer in headlights.
And the look that he gives her is just incredibly tired.
And she just says to him, "What is happening?"
Everything is coming to a head.
What is this? Is this my fault?
I don't think this was going to be prevented by anything, but they're gone.
Why the Tarson? They're not even with the Guru anymore. They shut themselves off. They're no threat to anyone. Why would this happen? Are you sure? Were you there? Did you see them? Are they really all gone?
My companions are there now.
And they told you.
He just nods.
Did they find, was there a young did they find a young Metis?
C's trying to piece together how much he can say.
In terms of what C knows, as a reminder, they did find at least one Metis who I think you said looked older.
Older.
Elderly.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Good clarification. Thank you.
No, the only Metis they had found was aged.
Okay. Oh. And then for a moment she looks relieved, and then she gets this look that clearly says, "Oh crap!" That she knows exactly who that was, and that person is dead. And so and then she looks disgusted at herself for being relieved for a minute. And then she just hugs herself and stands there looking really, really lost, like a little fawn in headlights, basically.
Do I get the sense that she knows that I know about her situation with the black spirals?
No.
Okay.
She's just treating you as the bearer of the news of her family's massacre, basically.
We need burial rites. I can get them to them in a moment, but we need to know what they are.
Yes. Tina and I should. Tina, your mother and I should go, and we can take care of them. We know what to do.
All right. I'll let them know that you're on your way.
Okay.
I shouldn't be laughing, but I just got the impression of cutting back to the camp as we've just finished lighting the pyre, going, well, that's that done.
Thistle is monitoring psychic communication and will remind you if you get out of hand. We are currently finding out those rights, so maybe don't do that.
No, because there's a lot of...
And so C sends over the link. Morning Cloud and my mother will be heading to the park to administer rites.
What of them? Ask her about the Metis.
They want to know what to do with the dead Metis, those who cannot be the bodies of Krynos.
It was never a problem before because it was private land and no one would find them. I don't know what's going to happen to the land now if the owners are all dead. There are probably the bones of other Metis already buried there. Your mother and I will figure something out. Just leave that to us. It's the only thing I can do, right? The only thing I can do to help. So I'll get a ride into the city and I'll call your mother and we will figure this out. We will take care of it. I promise.
And he takes a minute and just actively stands in front of Morning Cloud to make sure that he's looking at her. Is there any reason you could think that they would attack there? What would they be looking for?
Who would attack? I don't even know who did this. I just heard from them. I thought
the last thing that I suspect anyone heard in that cairn before death came was the cry of the whippoorwill.
You think Black Spirals did this?
Yes. We have confirmation. Their mark has been left on one of the buildings.
Then they're the one. I have to go. I'll take care of this. I'll take care of the bodies, okay? But I have to go. I have to catch Karen before she leaves.
Oh.
And she just starts to sprint away.
See, we should probably ask if she wants, or do we know if we need to be gone by then? Is it a private thing?
Most Uktena things are.
If nothing else.
Your mom's kinfolk, is it going to be safe for her to be there without guard?
The Black Spirals have what they came for. This land will be unbothered for some time.
Okay.
I would appreciate it if you would at least keep watch around the exterior until they get there. And until they leave.
And this land will be unbothered for some time. They've got themselves a wee minor cairn down here.
There was actually no cairn.
Oh, there wasn't?
I was gonna
I
say,
thought you said
it's
there
not
was
a
one.
cairn.
No, it's not a cairn.
Okay.
It's
Never
not,
mind
be
then.
part-
I was
not-
referring to it as
Retcon that.
I
then.
was referring to it as a cairn because it's a gathering of Garou, but it's not actually a cairn.
Right.
Okay.
It was a sort of a kind of a sept with no cairn attached to it, sort of.
Okay, gotcha.
A little confusing, but
Never mind.
and also to further confuse the fact she'd been told that there was once a cairn in that location, which is why they chose to squat there, but it is
Mhm.
gone.
We didn't get that sensation of crossing over the edge of a bond.
Yeah, we didn't
Nope.
hit the bond. That's right.
No,
Yep.
it is. There's all the mystic energies are long gone.
Um,
We will keep an eye out.
Leave the burial to my mother and to Morning Cloud. They'll handle everything, including the Krynos. Just keep watch, please.
Is there a reason you wouldn't ride out with them, so to join with us and then leave them here, and you could ride back with us, and our pack could be together?
This day is not yet done. We have more places to hunt.
I am afraid of leaving this cairn unwatched.
then either send me or leave me.
You're the one that can best tend to our packmates. You should go with them. If there's going to be a hunt, they'll need someone who can keep them alive.
If you can, especially given what just happened, just keep an eye on the girl.
Yes.
And Thistle will just gonna run after Morning Cloud.
Okay.
It's-
So Morning Cloud has grabbed Karen and is in the middle of explaining to Karen that, her whole family's just been slaughtered, and so maybe Silverglare shouldn't go on her date and should instead take her to the site of her family's slaughter. And Silverglare is not that she ever had much color because she's extremely, redheaded. But if it was possible for her to go paler, she goes paler, and she's like, "All right, let me just call my friend, and then I'll take you to the city, and I'll pick up your cousin, and then we can all go down to Hollister Hill." Hi, Thistle.
See, well, my pack is down there.
You want to go with us then?
That's where I'm being sent if you're able.
Of course. I'm sure they'll need you.
Mm-hmm.
Is C coming in as well?
He said he wanted to stay.
All right. All right. All right. Well, both of you come with me then. We'll go down
Yeah.
there and let's see. It's about 4:00 now, so it'll be good and dark by the time we get there. But is that all right? I don't know what they have in the way of lights. And Morning Cloud sort of snaps out of it like she only just now tuned back into the conversation, and she says, I know how to. I can get the torches lit. Let's just get down there.
Meanwhile, back down there. We will wait here until the others get here. Tig, if you will continue circling the perimeter, make sure nothing else decides it wants to come here. Brudek, we need to make sure this camp does not draw undue attention by being unnaturally quiet and unlit. We should likely get a fire going. Some torches or something.
On it.
Did anyone know there's people living up there?
Yeah, it was a reserve.
Yes, it's a reserve.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
we do not need to
Tag's
draw.
gonna-
We do not need to draw attention from the non-kinfolk of the RV park.
Tag's gonna hit the chain link and run the fence for a while.
Okay.
See, just kind of like still in the redwoods, sits down, not on the rock that Marsh Lion likes to sleep on, because he feels like that would almost feel like a usurpation of his spot. He just kind of like sits down and leans against it and just almost zones out for a minute.
Okay.
So Thistle is entirely synthesizing this through fantasy tropes at this point, sci-fi tropes. One, so I have a few questions for the GM, potentially to roll on or not roll on. One,
Okay.
is there any entities, creatures, on sort of either side that Thistle would think of as like potentially a lot of Garou just died. Watch out for the. I don't know if I'm communicating that.
The Garou
clearly.
version
No, I
of
see
the
what you're-
Garou version of drowners and ghouls.
Nothing would come to mind. I understand the
Okay.
question, and
Yeah.
no, nothing would
Okay.
come to mind. Not from what Z knows of Garou lore,
From
anyway.
the little bit I understand of, basically the Uctena's defaults towards other people within the sept I am a part of. Would they consider someone from this sort of pseudo sept over there to be Uctena enough to learn secrets, or no? Just from what I've heard.
If so, you're asking if the
For
the
example,
Uktena
if-
of
Yeah.
the Western Eye would have shared secrets with the Tarson if they
yeah.
would have
If
probably
someone
trusted
from
them.
the Tarson came to the Western Eye, aside from Silverglare, who I know is a special case, and C, who I also know is a different kind of special case.
Morning Cloud, but yeah.
Sorry, Morning Cloud.
I heard what you meant. Yeah.
Would they be seen as Uctena enough to get a spiritual position? Just from the general like stereotypes.
Sure, you would definitely get the idea that if one of the Tarson had showed up here saying, "I want to be part of your thing," they would have welcomed them. The Uktena would have, yeah. They considered them Uktena and therefore pure and trustworthy and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay. Just going by that assumption, how Thistle is essentially trying to do the math of how many spiritual positions the sept is expected to have and how many Uctena there are to fill them.
Yeah. So basically, I don't have the chart in front of me, but it's you've got Master of the Right, you've got Keeper of the Land, you've got Caller of the Wild, and
Master of the Land.
I feel like I'm missing one somewhere.
There's.
On
I
the
thought there was
spiritual side.
one that.
Did you call out Master of the
My
Right?
friend was going to get promoted to that I'm.
Yeah, Brushfire
Oh,
is Caller of the Wild and was potentially going to get promoted to Keeper of the Land, which was Morning Cloud's current position, because Morning Cloud was going to get promoted to Right Master. Those are the main three strictly spiritual positions. Yes, those are the three that are considered like in that hierarchy, directly under March Lion.
Okay, so those are the three no fucking outsiders position.
Yes. There
Okay.
are other Uctena that could potentially fill them, but they're already placed in other positions, like Hot Eye is the gatekeeper, Alma is the tail singer, and then there's Colmillo, who is one of the guardians. They're all Uctena as well. But they already have positions. Colmillo could potentially be promoted to something because the guardian is kind of a low position. But yeah.
Okay, so we're
They're spread pretty thin.
Yeah. I know they were already spread thin, but like
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Thistle is just sort of trying to think about that, like, I don't know if I could do like an empathy or some sort of tactics roll for like how feasible that would be as a motive if they take out basically other potential Uktena candidates to move a certain person into a position or put the Uktena in a position where they can't staff all of the given roles.
I think that would be sort of like an intelligence and leadership, because that's, again,
Okay.
that sort of strategy. But
Yeah.
you're trying to sort of guess at someone else's strategy, but I think that counts
fair.
as the same type of
Intelligence
thinking.
and leadership.
So, intelligence and leadership, and you're trying to figure out
Intelligence or wit?
intelligence, because it's not like an on the fly, you have to come up with the answer right now type thing.
Sure.
So phrase the question to me again of what Thistle is trying to figure out with
Basically,
intelligence and leadership.
Would this action, like taking out, make sense if part of their tactic was trying to create some level of void in the already spread thin Uktena staffing of the Sept?
Okay, so do your roll difficulty. We'll do difficulty 6.
Okay. Because that's something that, when speaking directly to March Lion, he expressed concern about around Thistle. 0 successes, but not a botch.
So, Thistle's just pondering it and just getting white noise up here, like either from stress or whatever, just like can't make heads or tails.
It's like, oh, I remember this story where that happened. Wait, no, stay on topic. Ooh, I remember this other story.
And just can't quite put
I wonder
together.
if they're trying to unite the Dragon Balls, or if they're trying to find all of the people with the magical MacGuffins. No.
Yeah, sadly, no help from pop
fine.
culture or anything here.
Yeah.
So still confused, still trying to sort it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just.
Okay, so Silver Glare, assuming there's nothing further that you want to ask or say to them, she'll just go with you guys outside the Cairn grounds and down to her car and get driving into the city. Okay. So there's going to be a bit of a long drive where Silver Glare will be driving her little minivan. Sharon's going to be on the phone in the passenger seat to see his mom, telling her what happened. You guys are just kind of lighting fires and torches and stuff while you wait. And meanwhile, C is still back at the Sept. And actually, Tea Tree approaches him. Where is he now?
He's, like I said, he's been just kind of internalizing, so he's probably still sitting like on that, like not like leaning against the rock that March Lion usually sleeps against.
March Lion has not
returned,
from inside Morning Cloud's tent. Actually, he went in to talk to her. She left, freaking out, and he actually never came out of the tent. So, Tea Tree. Actually, have you been watching that area at all?
I've been keeping eyes on that spot if I could.
Okay, so you actually saw Tea Tree go there, start sort of talking to some people, and then one of them pointed to Morning Cloud's tent, and she went in there for a while. Everybody's been in Morning Cloud's tent today. It's like you dusted for prints in there, you'd come up with all kinds of stuff.
That one girl's gonna have a lot to talk about, apparently.
Yeah. And then Tea Tree comes out of the tent, but again, March Lion does not. And Tea Tree goes looking for C. And when she finds him, she just sort of calmly, still in Hamid form and everything, just sits down cross-legged in the dirt next to him. In her pantsuit, like doesn't seem to mind getting dirt on the seat of it as she sits down next to him and just sort of tips her head at him and just gives him kind of a long searching look, like maybe she's going to wait and see what he says before she speaks, but she's clearly intending to converse with him.
How's Marsh Lion?
I've never seen him like this. He's distraught. I don't think he likes to be seen like this. So, I've left him some privacy. But I understand that this was your family, and I'm very sorry, and I don't understand what's happened. Do you think it was something internal? Do you think, I know they were unstable. Do you have any clues as to what might have brought this about?
I think there's a lot that will be coming to light in the next few days. There's so much, and I'm not even certain what to think of it myself yet.
March Lyon said that he thought you knew who was responsible, but that I should ask you.
Are you transmitting any of this?
Yeah, just the conversation and inquisition to the group, not a sort of any particular thoughts, just speech or silence.
Don't tell her. We don't know if she in fact learned that from Marsh Lion or not.
If I could, I'm not the Philodox, so it's your call, but this is directly an attack of the worm. Even if we're concerned about who might know, is it okay to cover it up in a way that might endanger our sept?
You should tell her and judge her reaction.
There is that note. He kind
But
of
at the same
pauses
time, don't cause panic by a...
This is an elder of the sept. One would hope wisdom in not causing panic would follow such information.
Yeah.
My companions found a mark on one of the buildings, he says, as he slowly, with his left hand, traces a black spiral in the dirt.
She follows the motion of his hand, and in a manner that he can probably fully understand and appreciate, her expression does not change in the slightest. But he can almost sense that same sort of, deliberate control.
Wipes the mark in the dirt off with his hand after he's certain that she's recognized it.
Are you certain enough of this that I ought to notify the Cairn Warder? They have taken aggressive action against the Cairn before.
Aggressive action. They've wiped out the Taliesin.
It would seem that this constitutes a real and present threat to the Cairn and the Sept, and I believe I should notify the Cairn Warder if you are 100% certain that this massacre was caused by the black spirals. You're sure that is the mark that they saw?
Those two are different things. Just to be careful. We are sure that that was the mark left by the aggressors. We are sure that the aggressors overpowered at least several Garou. We are sure, or we have heard, we're not necessarily sure, that a van of known black spirals was seen in this vicinity. Those are the things we're sure of.
That is the mark that was left. And everyone in that sept, in that place, was hunted and butchered.
I have to assume that we're next. All right. I'll go to Tim. We'll put together whatever defense we can. And thank you for getting this information to us in... I hope that we have enough time. Thank you. Where's the rest of your pack?
Some are returning. Some are scouting. I am processing.
So they've gone back to the site.
That's how they found it.
The compound. All right. Why did they go down there in the first place? Not that I'm glad that they did, that we discovered this, but why were they down there to start with?
We've been hunting possible Black Spiral presence, and the vehicle that had matched their mark was seen there.
All right. Well, Silverglare was clearly made the correct decision in assigning you to this duty, so I won't question it. I'm going to speak with Tim.
Did Silverglare ever mention that she had told Teachery this?
Yeah.
Okay, just
Yeah.
making sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
She had early on. She had told you guys that it makes perfect sense that I would be sending you after the Black Spirals. So that part we don't have to hide.
We're a powerful young pack doing some recon.
Yeah, and you were the first ones to make contact with them, and so it just kind of made sense.
Just for the clarity of my notes, Michelle, you can tell me it doesn't matter or you don't remember. Did we learn about the van from Tim or from Silverglare?
It was Tim's little network of helpful cops that spotted the van.
I know it was the cops connected to my half sister that.
Yep. And so Tim was the one who told you, and I believe Teachery was actually present when he did that. I'm not 100% sure of, but I think she was actually standing.
I was going to say I could have sworn that we knew Tim had told Teachery about the van.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's perfectly good to clarify. Yep. Okay, so she walks off, presumably looking for Tim, who's been wandering all around the ground. So she's just kind of wandering off in search of him. And in the meantime, you guys, you get down to the city.
One last note.
See,
after that, will actually stand up from where he's been sitting for the past 10, 20 minutes and go walk over to the tent where the children are kept, just to keep an eye on the area around Emma and make sure nobody's accosting her or anything.
Okay. They have there's a second smaller cabin where usually the young folks hang out, and they seem to be just happily playing together. Emma she's not playing with the others, but she at least seems to be occupied with comic books and stuff. And no strife or trouble going on over there. And Bridge Runner's actually in there.
Some level of pop culture knowledge. It's probably fairly evident what material was introduced by Thistle.
Oh yeah, all of the comics, because no other guru in the Cairn would do that. Yeah, the comics is probably the deadest giveaway, but there's also an element of, well, that seems a little not about being in harmony with nature, and a little bit of self-autonomy that is not
typical of Guru raising.
Uh-huh. And Bridge Runner's actually in there with the kids, keeping an eye on them. And yeah. So you guys go to pick up. By the time you pick up C's mom, Morning Cloud has told her the whole situation and she's had some time to compose herself. So, they just hug for a really long time. And then C's mom gets in the back of the minivan, probably near Thistle. And
at which point Thistle realizes that this is a really awkward first impression for my pack mates, kinfolk.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
C's mom looks like she's got that same 1,000-yard stare that Morning Cloud does, and like politely nods to Thistle, but doesn't even seem to like acknowledge, oh, here's a person I've never met before. She's just like, uh-huh. And then you guys drive down to the RV park as it gets dark. Before, is there anything that Thistle that you're going to want to ask or say or anything in the car on the way down, or?
Thistle will probably very respectfully to the not quite here with us briefly introduce himself as Thistle, as C's packmate, and then quietly mention to her what I can't remember exactly. It's in chat. Give me a second. The thing that Rudik's, the woman that survived slightly longer.
Oh, right.
Not JD.
Umatamu Natsuji.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm quite pronouncing that right, but the one person who is barely alive still.
And they both just like get the same look, and they both just like the hand goes over the mouth instantly, and then Morning Cloud just basically breaks down sobbing, and C's mom, you begin to see the family resemblance as she just calmly puts her hand back in her lap and says in a very almost unnervingly steady voice, "It's what we say before we fall in battle. Normally it's Umate Nacheden. I die unsullied, untouched, pure. But she said we die unsullied. We die untouched."
It's not my place, but you needed to know, so.
Thank you. And then she just falls very, very silent with that very C-like look on her face of,
yeah.
I am not having any feelings right now. While Morning Cloud just sobs like a child. And it gets darker and darker as you drive down. And
I'm assuming Tag didn't pick up anything on his fence run at this point.
no, it's very quiet except for just the very, very distant sounds of, people doing RV park stuff. Whatever people do in RV parks, I don't know, man. And back at the Cairn grounds, let's see, where are you? Are you still by the children's cabin?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, he's keeping an eye, making sure that Emma's okay, and that
are you in there, or are you just like lurking nearby?
he's probably just sitting outside.
Okay. So Tim walks up to you, looking.
And you shall be visited by 3 elders.
Each in turn.
Jim's the ghost of Christmas future. That's not good.
Each of the elders freaks out at you in
He is
their
in
own
our room.
way in turn. Now it's Tim's turn to freak out at you, and he's normally like such a chill guy, and right now he looks like you can see the whites of his eyes, like he's just And he comes and he just sits down on the ground next to you, and he says, "Where's Silverglare? Where are the rest of you? We need to have a powwow here, man."
The rest of my pack, along with Silverglare and my mother and Morning Cloud, are all going to see to burial.
Okay. Shit. Okay. Look, we all need to, just as soon as they can get back, we need to get everybody, we need to get the whole goddamn sept, and we need to go into the city and we need to find these fuckers. We need to go underground if we have to, all of us, and just wipe them out. Should have done this days
Do we
ago.
have those numbers?
How many of them are? You said, I mean, we never saw more than 6 of them. That would be enough to do this, but there are going to be some losses, but I don't see any other choice. We've just got to find them and we've just got to end them.
We can't.
Give them any more chance to dig in, to spring any more of this shit on us.
We can't leave this place unprotected, though.
Shit.
And I'm certain that there are more dangerous things than Black Spiral Garou underground.
So we call in the Glasswalkers from Silicon Valley. We call in everybody.
We need allies, yes.
But we don't have time. We don't have time to wait for them. We just, you know, I'll go. I'll just, no.
That's suicide.
And that's Silverglare's job. She's the one who goes out. I stay here. I defend. She goes on the attack. But we can't split our forces. There aren't. All right. If there's 6 of them, if we go down there with a dozen, that should be enough. We'll lose people, but we can.
What of Jaglings? What of Banes?
Well, we've got. All right. If we send Bridge Runner, he's got spiritual help. 4 Eyes, maybe 2. God, if I. Shit. Look, all right. I've done this before. Just trust me. We get a dozen of our best people. We send them down there. You know where they are, right? They're under that building somewhere.
Yes, and
sewers around.
Our packmate with the ability to sense the worm sensed certain death.
There's 6 of them. There's only 6 of them. We'll be fine. You just get a dozen.
What if there are more than 6 of them?
There aren't. There's just 6. There's only the 6.
We don't know that.
Just I've got experience in these things, all right? We ran into them before when they attacked. There were 6. If there were more of them, we would know. Just trust me on this. Get a dozen people. You know where they are. Get underground.
Tim, you are the Cairn Warder. I respect and have nothing but appreciation for your experience and your role. But walking in blindly will only cause undue death.
Blind, though. We've got eyes in the city. I will gather intel for you. I will get you all the information that you need. But I've got to stay here. Like you said, I've got to defend this place. I can't leave.
Tim.
It should be me. It should be me.
They want the Redwoods.
Shit. All right.
The one thing that cannot fall is the center of this cairn.
Thistle. I need Thistle. Is he here?
Thistle just left with Silverglare.
Is he still transmitting this?
Halfway. He's focused on talking
if
right now.
Thistle,
so it's not getting
yeah. If Thistle senses like being brought up, can you patch me through?
I can communicate instantly. What do you need to tell them? I say to Tim.
Oh. No, I just look. I mean, no offense, but I don't know you well. I when Thistle gets back, I need to talk to Zer. I just need to talk to my cub. All right.
I send that.
Okay. I think we should be headed back after this. Obviously, barring Morning Cloud and Silver Glare, the higher-ranking people decisions.
Xenos and the group of them should be heading back after the burial.
I was too slow on this. I was too cautious. I'm always too slow. Why am I so slow? This is my fault. This is my fault.
Tim, the one thing that cannot fall, remember it. If they get to what is beneath those redwoods, everything is done.
Believe me, I know.
And, like, I understand this isn't how this works, and I think Thistle does too, but is just gonna kind of concentrate on their spirit heritage and their spirit heritage and their tree-ness and like spirit parent just comfort keep wolf parent is probably not in a great place right now.
Yeah, there's
just sort of pushing on that spiritual connection theurging.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the gauntlet is just
that's
in
not
the way.
how it works.
Yeah. So in the meantime, I guess Tim wanders off, just continuing to mutter to himself despairingly and trying to plan out strategies in his head, mumbling to himself and looking more like a confused old man than he has since you've met him. And in the meantime, the minivan continues.
Back at the,
It's by the time you get to the RV park, it's pitch dark. The sun has gone down. The moon is not yet risen.
Back at the park, after Tig reports back from his circle. Wait by the gate, Tig. Guide them here when they arrive.
And they do show up because C's mom and Sharon are with you. They actually don't need much help finding the gap in the fence.
The guide wasn't so much for their help as it was for their protection.
Right. But they are able to head straight for the gap in the fence, and so before too much longer, in what little light there is of the torches you were able to find and light, you see a woman who looks a little bit like C, and you see Morning Cloud and Thistle and Silver Glare approaching through the gap in the fence. I
am still in Krynos form, and
okay.
I sort of approach the group as they get into the thing and sort of kneel down so I'm more on eye level with the two Uktena. I know this doesn't necessarily mean much coming from one of my kind, but your people fought bravely. Their warriors are Modai tonight.
And Morning Cloud just breaks down again, just buries her face in her hands and starts sobbing, and C's mom just gives a stoic nod.
I don't reach out to comfort because I'm not that guy.
Rubek is already there, and I mean, if he goes up cautiously because it's Morning Cloud.
And weirdly enough, Morning Cloud just frickin' throws her arms around him and just sobs into his chest like he was her best friend. Just clings to him.
And he will hold her and just say, it wasn't your fault. There's nothing you could have done. we can only make this right by laying them to rest, and bringing vengeance upon those who did this. And we'll just sort of, as long as she needs comfort, we'll stay there and hold her.
So a long time. she basically just, she's like a barnacle at this point. Just
While that happens sort of quietly off to the side, Thistle will kind of take some level of charge, because this is sort of theurgy stuff at this point.
And sees Mom with no
Whatever you need,
hesitation
Emma.
whatsoever, like as though she can sense Thistle's theurgeness, is like explain to her, okay, so the Tarson believed that the body was this, and she's explaining to Zur, like, the head needs to be oriented in this direction, and we paint them with this, and she's just being very, and I'll need your help doing this, and then we have to anoint them this way, and she just walks Thistle through the whole thing, because she can see that her cousin is not going to be helpful right now, and so she needs Thistle's help. And
Tig is just lurking and will help whenever there's an opening.
I'll look over at Silver Glare. We will stand watch.
I think that would be a good idea. Tig,
Hi, sister.
if you could stay just within eyeline of the breach in the fence, and just keep your eyes and ears peeled. Shadow, I need you to stay visible. Stay in the form that you're in. Stay in the torchlight, so that if anyone should be lurking around, I want them to see you. So make sure that you are present, visible, and in the light at all times. And keep your eyes and ears peeled too, but mostly we'll have Tig scouting and you serving as a deterrent to anyone who might be interested in paying us a visit. And
as she's saying that, I grow about 3 feet taller and 2 feet wider.
Oh, that'll do nicely. Thank you.
Using the visage of Fenris.
Right. Yes, stay in the light, looking just like that. Perfect. I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to patrol outside the perimeter, and I will howl if I catch sight of anything that you need to be aware of. Thistle, just assist.
Of course.
I'm sorry, ma'am. What's your name? I'm Tina. Sees Mom says. Tina Walsh. Sees Mother. Right, Tina. You and Thistle attend to the fallen, and howl if you need me. All right.
Right.
And she actually shifts into lupus form and just reddish like Tig, and she just lopes out and gives Tig a little sort of a yip of acknowledgement as she runs by and heads out.
And I will basically pace a circle around the visible area of the camp, and if Thistle and Tina need any assistance, I will provide muscle.
At the cairn, C is really wishing he had his sword right now.
I was gonna say I'm not that weak, but I have a 1 dot of strength, so I assume I am helping Tina with the spiritual side of things.
Yes, indeed, like the preparation, and when it comes time for the actual, digging and burying in it, they'll probably get Shadow involved. But we will observe a moment of silence for the fallen, and that is where we'll end for this evening. And we will pick up next week with them all properly buried and tended to, so that we may continue our vengeance.
All right.
Yes.
See you next week.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.